Hey everybody, and welcome to another Cricut Craft tutorial. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm on the path to 100,000 and I would love to have you as part of my crafty family. It would mean the world to me if you would just hit that big red subscribe button down below. In today's video, we are going to make a fabulous fall felt sunflower garland. This is a great way to decorate for fall without doing all the simple pumpkins that everybody does. And while I love a good pumpkin, sunflowers have my heart. Are you a sunflower fan or are you more of a pumpkin person? Let me know in those comments down below. Today we're going to show you guys how to load the SVG from my brand new website. You're going to get that SVG for free just by clicking the link down below, and you can simply download it right from there. I also have a great new newsletter that will start coming out very, very soon that you can sign up for on my website as well. And I would love to have you guys as part of that family too. So let's get started. We're going to go over to Design Space. I'm going to show you how to upload the SVG, how to size it, and then how to cut. And then we're going to get to assemble our garland. In Design Space, the first thing that you'll want to do is upload the image that you've downloaded from the website, linked down below in the description. So click Upload Image and click Browse. The image isn't zipped, so you won't need to do any unzipping for this file, but you'll want to save it somewhere that makes sense to you. And you'll want to use the Sunflower SVG file, which may show as a Internet Explorer or Chrome HTML document. That's the correct file. Here is our file, so you're just going to click on Save and select the image and insert the image. Now, with this, Inkscape doesn't like to keep things sized correctly, so I have put the sizes that you need to make everything in the SVG. So what we're going to do is click the word ungroup over here on the right hand side, and to make our sunflower we need it to be 8.75 inches wide. So up at the top, just change this to 8.75. That'll take the height and the width to the size that we need them. Now each of these circles need to be 2.3 inches, so just go ahead and change the width to 2.3 inches and it will change the height as well. They are going to be smaller than your center, so don't worry, that's totally normal because when we make this we're going to scrunch up the flower and these will fit perfectly. You can go ahead and delete all of the words by just selecting them and clicking on delete. This is a super easy SVG to work with, but you do need to resize it thanks to Design Space and Inkscape not seeing eye to eye. Now we're going to cut these on felt, so you can use 2 or 3 colors of felt depending on how you want to do this. I'm going to go ahead and cut mine on just 2 colors of felt. I just think it'll be a little bit easier for me, and that way if the sunflower spins, they're the same color. So I'm going to go ahead and change this green one over to brown, but again, you can do more than one color if you wish. It's up to you. Go ahead and click Make It. Now, you can make as many of these items as you would like to, however many sunflowers you want. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to make 6 flowers. So what I'm going to do is change my project copies to 6 up here at the top in the left. Click Apply, and it's going to give us 6 circles and 6 sunflowers. Change that back to the 9x12. You're going to need 1 sheet of one color, so whatever color you're going to make your centers and your backs, and then you're going to need 6 sheets of yellow felt. This is a really easy part to do. Once we hit Make It or Continue, we're going to let it load our machine, and then I'm going to show you how to select the correct kind of cut setting. To cut this, we are cutting this on felt, but I don't like the felt setting as much. So what I do is I go to Browse All Materials and I scroll down to Fabric, and I like to see what other options we have within the felt family if they offer us anything else. It doesn't look like they're offering us even felt right here, so you may need to scroll and see if there are other options as to where the felt might be hiding. So for this one, they have felt right here. One thing you can do is if you want to check, so click on Material Settings, and it's going to bring up all of your materials. Now everything is alphabetical, so we're going to scroll down to F and find felt. Now you can see that they have so many different pressures. The felt regular setting is 148 as a pressure, and it just doesn't work really well. But I like to either use felt wool bonded or the felt stiff. So you may want to do some test cuts to see what works best for you. I find the felt typically seems to lift a little bit for me, but it just depends on what you want to do. So once you select your item, you can't select in this menu. You have to go back and select from here, so you can do this. Now, one thing that's cool is you can edit your tools. I'm just showing you on the felt setting because it works. But we're going to edit our tools because with the Maker, you can use the rotary blade. You can do this with your Explorer as well. Your Explorer will cut felt, and you'll need to use the fine point blade, which is recommended, but you can also cut with the rotary blade. It just depends on what works best for you and your machine. So definitely do some test cutting before you sit down to cut all of this out. You don't want to mess anything up. When using your fabric mat, it's really a great idea to protect it if you can. So what I'm actually going to use is some blue grid transfer tape that I have, but you can use contact paper or other transfer tape. So what I'm going to do, because this one already has a backing on it, it's a little easier than using the contact paper, but I'm just going to lay it down on my mat, and I'm going to lay this one face down. You want the sticky side up. And if your mat isn't real sticky, you may need to get a stickier mat. But I'm going to use my squeegee just to help press the transfer tape down onto my mat, because you want to make sure that this is going to stick really, really well, because this is what your felt is going to sit on. So what you'll need to do now is pull up the backing from your transfer tape, revealing that nice sticky side. So I'm just going to use my pin pen real quick and just see if I can pop that backing off without pulling up my tape. And you're just going to peel the backing off of your transfer tape. And now you're going to go ahead and stick your felt onto your transfer tape. Once you have your tape down, you can go ahead and apply your felt right over your transfer tape. This is just going to keep all those awful felt fuzzies off of your mat. You want to make sure you try to keep this mat as clean and easy to use as possible, because the fabric mats can be kind of a pain. So to load your rotary blade, open your clamp B and remove your original housing and place your rotary blade housing in. You can see that there's a gold gear and there's a plastic case over that gold gear. You want to line the gold gears up in the back and then close clamp B again. Then you're ready to cut. Ignore that little bit of silver. I didn't wipe my blade off. I cut something silver a while ago. So I'm just going to show you guys, look how well it cut these out. Now obviously there's some really tight lines between the dots, so you're going to end up having the felt kind of rip away there. But look at this, it cut so perfectly. That rotary blade is, honest to God, my favorite tool for the Cricut Maker. I think it really cuts fabric really well. And like, can you see all the fuzzies on the transfer tape? All those fuzzies are not going to be stuck to your mat now, so you don't have to worry about having all those fuzzies from the felt all over your mat and having to clean them off. So I'm going to grab some yellow after I peel all of this off, and then we're going to cut out all of our yellow sunflowers. So I decided for this project I wanted a little bit of glitter on our centers, so I'm going to go ahead and glitter them before I attach them to our sunflowers. So I'm just going to use this adhesive spray from Beacon and then some glitter, and I believe I got this at AC Moore, but they probably have a bunch of different kinds that are similar. This is kind of a rosy gold color. So I'm just going to give these just a light spray. I don't want a ton of glitter on them, so I'm just kind of giving them a light spray, and I just want to make sure they're spread out a little bit. And I'm using this glitter because it's not super chunky, it's a little bit lighter. I want to use kind of a lighter glitter. And I'm just going to make sure these have enough adhesive on them. And then all I'm going to do is just use the little shaker side and open that up. And we're just going to shake a little bit of glitter across these. You don't have to put a ton on. This is just personal preference. I just thought it would look a little pretty with some sparkle. And I'm doing both sides, so both of the circles. That way if there's any turning of the sunflowers while they're on the garland. Both of the circles that are going to be on our sunflower are going to be sparkly. You guys could do paint or bling or leave them plain, however you want to decorate them. I've even seen people use a Sharpie and draw little lines on them. So it's all personal preference and however you want to do it. We'll set these guys to the side and let them dry. They're going to need to dry for a while, because we want to make sure that that glitter is going to stay on. And we'll knock any loose glitter off of these after the glue has initially dried. While your center's dry, you can go ahead and start working on your flower petal part. So with this, you're going to just pinch the flower petal all the way around, and you're going to kind of pinch at each petal is the best way I can describe it. So as each petal, you're going to pinch right here at the bottom, and you're just going to pinch a little bit and put a little bit of hot melt glue on the back side of it, so in between your pinch, so right here. So what I like to do is I will flip it this way, so it's backwards. It doesn't matter which way you have it to start with, because they both are the same on both sides. So what I'm going to do is just kind of find my petal, and I'm going to pinch. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, and I typically like to pinch with my left hand. I know where my pinch is, so I'm just going to take a little dab of hot melt glue. It doesn't take much, just a little bit. I let it cool for just a few seconds, because it is pretty warm. And then I go ahead and I pinch. You don't want a real deep pinch. You don't have to do anything too crazy, but simple as that. You just pinch it and hold it for a little bit so that the glue can dry. And you're going to do that around your entire flower. I'll show you a couple more of these, but you'll see once it's dry, you're good to go, or at least mostly dry. And then you can just continue around your flower the same way. They don't have to be exactly in the center. If you're not perfectly centered, it's not going to be the end of the world. These are flowers. They're meant to look a little different. They're not going to be all the same, and that's okay. Flowers in the wild are all very, very different, and that's okay too. So we're going to go ahead and again, just take and let this dry for just a second. I like to just let it cool a little bit, and then I just pinch. So we're going to do that all the way around our flower. And don't worry if you get a little bit of glue that sticks out. You're going to cover that up with your flower center. So don't fret if it's not super neat or you get a little bit of glue where it doesn't belong. So again, I just sort of find where the center is, put a little dab of glue. You don't need very much. I'm literally just using the amount of glue that kind of falls off the end as it's warming, and then I pinch. Sometimes I'll do it like this where I kind of sandwich it and I hold it with both fingers. You're going to find what way works best for you. But again, remember the hot melt glue is warm, so you'll want to be careful and kind of pay attention to what you're doing. And you want to make sure that your hands are protected if it's too hot for you. This one's not too bad. I have a Ryobi glue gun, and I love it. The glue does get hot after a while, but it does take a little while for it to get to that point. And you can always turn it off and come back if the glue is getting too hot for you to stand. But typically, I don't need to do anything too crazy. So like I said, you can do this any way you want. This is kind of the two-hand fold and then pinch. Play around with it. Figure out what works best for you. I'm going to finish going all the way around our flower, and then I'll do the rest of them off camera. But I'm going to speed this up so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me do every single petal. And then I'm going to show you guys how to attach the centers to these once all the flowers are done. Now it's time to glue the centers on. We've let these dry, and I have knocked off a lot of the excess glitter. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that cool? So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of glue right around the center of our sunflower. And they do look bunchy, but once they're hung up, they look really pretty. So what we're going to do is just take a little bit of hot melt glue, and I just run, again, I don't use a ton of glue. I don't want to use a lot of glue on this. So I don't want them to be really heavy with glue. So I just use a really light amount of glue, and then I center this little guy best I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then go ahead and press him down. And you're only going to do one side right now because we will need to leave the other side undone. That way you can put the string through the back, because we're going to use the string and we're going to have it go behind the back piece. So there's one. Look how pretty. It's so glittery. I thought this came out really fun with the glitter. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the rest of them. I will show you guys, and I'll speed this up. we're going to use this ribbon that I got from Michaels. This is like kind of a rope look, and I really thought it would work perfectly. So what I'm going to do is use my mat here, my self-healing mat, to measure. So I'm going to do 12-inch sections. I'm not going to cut them. All I'm going to do is use a Sharpie and mark out 12 inches on this rope. It doesn't have to be exact, but this is how we're going to place our sunflowers. So it's just going to be a little bit easier to place them evenly along our rope by just measuring out. And again, like I said, it doesn't have to be exact. Just make sure you have some sort of a dot right there to where you can kind of tell where about 12 inches is. That'll be where we'll center the rope on our sunflower. So I'm going to go ahead and finish measuring this out, and then we can place our sunflowers. Once you get to your last dot, go ahead and measure that out another 12 inches. And now you can cut it off. That way you have your rope. Set that over to the side, and we're going to start with just one of these little pieces here and a sunflower. So you're going to flip your sunflower upside down. Take your rope, find your dot, and get your dot about centered on your sunflower. Now for these, I like to put them a little bit higher up onto the sunflower. For this, it probably looks lower to you guys, but I like to put it towards the top or the bottom of the circle. That way you have a little more stability for it not to flip over. If you put it in the center, they'll tend to want to kind of lay funny. So I tend to put it closer to the top. So what you're going to do is get this all lined up. Once you've lined this up, you're going to just take a little bit of hot melt glue, and I will always just use it to hold my rope down on the center. And then I like to put just a little dab of glue towards the end of each of the ropes. Again, it just adds that little bit of stability. You don't need to put a ton on, but I do just use a little dab just for, again, that stability. And you want to just make sure you use just the tiniest bit. You don't need a lot of glue for this project. So once you've done that, you can grab one of your flower centers, again, also glittered. That way everything looks nice and uniform on both sides, just in case it does decide to flip. It's totally okay. You don't have to do it on both sides. I just like to. I like glitter. So what I'm going to do is then run a bead of glue all the way around the center. And you can actually, with this one, kind of get it a little more over that rope too as well, just to give you a little more stability with the rope piece. And then lay your center down and press it down. Now again, you will end up getting glitter on your hands. It's just what happens when you make these if you add the glitter. But it's such a fun project that I absolutely love doing it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is move our little flower over, and we're going to get another flower. You'll see you end up with some glitter on your table as well, but don't worry, it's totally fine. It'll wipe right off. We're just going to do the exact same thing again, so I'll show you one more time. We're going to line up the circle, the little dot in the circle. Go ahead and lay your rope right on that. Be careful not to burn your fingers. And then I just add just the tiniest bit of glue right where my rope sits on my flower petals, just to add that little bit of stability on the rope. And go ahead and set that down. Then do your glue all the way around the edge here. And like I said, I like to do a little bit in the middle. Grab a middle piece of your flower and set that right down. And go ahead and press it down. We're going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then I'm going to show you what this thing looks like all done. I hope you guys had so much fun learning how to make these adorable felt sunflowers for some fall-themed garland. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's totally free, and I'm on that path to 100,000, and I would love to have you as part of my crafty family. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and happy crafting.